Hello, welcome to the Francine Carlyle show. It's not the Frank Carlyle show tonight. It's his daughter, and he hasn't put a heading up. But I'd like to say, should we be scared of anybody? I've looked at all the games this weekend, and I'm not afraid. Not even from the Arsenal game either. You know, where they beat Man U 3-1, two late goals. Um, it's looking solid for me. Nunes, Zabozlai is just phenomenal. McAllister, bargain of the window. So yeah, it's looking good, and I just want to see what all you other people think. I've got two great guests. It's like a game of two Georges. So we've got the voice of Anfield, George Sefton, and Shankly's lost boy, George Scott, I think. So yeah, so it's going to be good. I may be a bit nervous at the beginning because I am on my own. I thought I'd have a sidekick, but my sidekick is not well. She's got cellulitis, I think. So it was going to be a girl thing, but it isn't. So it's just a me thing. So I'll bring George in. George Sefton.
Hello.
Hiya, George. Are you okay?
I am. Do you want a 50 pence for the lucky meter?
I know. I think I'm supposed to turn on the light, aren't I? Hang on. I think I'm supposed. It could be this. Oh God, I don't know what's saying that. I know. I'm all like. I know it's Halloween soon. Oh, hey.
Oh,
yeah. It's all a bit. Yeah. What is it? I mean, it might soften the blow, but I've been a bit up the wall, trying to work out all where everything is, and there was a mic in my face, and I've had to like move chairs. So yeah, so I'm just settling in at the moment, George. And I just want to ask before I bring the other George in. Can you see me?
I can see you. I can hear you. You keep freezing, but you're still there.
Hey! You got me. Hi, Francine. Hi, George.
Oh, we are.
Hi, George.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes. I can hear you loud and clear. Thanks. Lovely to see you in the captain's chair.
Can you see me?
I can see you and I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, do you know what? I've got a Shankly coat on, and it's just like the wrong weather for it because I'm absolutely sweating. So it will be getting taken off. Otherwise, I'm just going to melt in front of live. Honestly,
very warm today.
It's bubbling. But I was saying to Jason, I was looking for a drink because, like, obviously my dad's gone away, and the only drink I could find was a Peroni. So I don't know whether my dad will shout at me because all I've got is ice cold Peroni. It was too much to take, really. But yeah, so Saturday's game, George. What do you think? What's your impression of Liverpool? George Sefton, sorry.
Me. Yeah, I thought that they were terrific on Saturday. They just looked like they've been playing together for a couple of years, never mind being a gang of strangers. And, I'm thinking that we still got Bacetic to come back. He was on the bench. I'm reading today about Jurgen scouting Endo, the Japanese guy, a couple of years ago, and saying he thought he was great, and he just went very quiet. And people were saying in the last couple of weeks that it was a sort of last-minute panic job. It wasn't at all. He's been doing his homework, and he's going to be a great addition to the squad. We've got a great squad now. All we need every year, every August, since God knows when, I've said we need just a bit of luck. We don't want anybody doing their cruise ships or, getting locked up or, kidnapped or whatever for the next 8 months, and we'll sort the whole place out. well, are we second in the league or third? We're certainly in the pack just behind City, and we haven't been near them yet. I know. I'm looking forward. The first time for a long time, I'm looking forward to getting City to our place and see what we can do.
And what about you, George? Scott?
I'm still coming down from the ceiling after Nunes' 2 goals in Newcastle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable. What a finish that was. It's another legend for Liverpool. And Saturday, I thought they played, like George said, beautiful football. Everything was in the right place. They were stroking the ball around. Szoboszlai, a fantastic goal in the first 5 minutes. Young midfield locking together. It just was brilliant. And we've been on this show for quite a while, Francine, and we've been having some frustrating moments in the summer with signings and who's coming in and who's not coming in, and Casado and Lavia. Well, I think we've got 3 of the best there, Gravenberch and McAllister and Szoboszlai. The young players that are talented players, and with Trent as well and all the rest of them. Couldn't be happier, Francine. I hope you heard me. You're frozen.
She keeps freezing.
Well, I'll open my hands up. Oh. Yeah, I did hear you. Sorry. Even though I might be freezing or whatever, because I'm quite animated anyway. Even though it might be, I can still hear you. So don't be worrying about that. And hopefully you can still hear me. There's Marios. But
hey, Marios.
Can I? Hello, Marios.
Hi, Marios.
I've just asked the question to the boys. About what was your thoughts on the game on Sunday?
Yeah, quite exceptional performance. I think it was really promising, and it was like a blast from the past, from the glory past of Jürgen's era, and it was a lot of energy in the team. I think that there is a great atmosphere inside the football team of Liverpool right now, and we are a team of psychology. As better the psychology is inside the team, the better the performance is on the pitch, and there's a great aura in Liverpool right now. It's like a healthy atmosphere. I think this is what I get when I see Liverpool right now. A healthy atmosphere that was missing last season, and a lot of energy, a great football, a great pressing. And I think the rebuild in the midfield helps a lot, and it helps a lot also in defensive wise. That's why Matip and Gomez were so exceptional on Sunday too.
And don't forget, basically, we had 2 of the best centre backs in European football missing on Saturday.
Yeah.
We still got away with it.
Of course.
I was a bit worried at the start. And then when I saw the team, I thought, we can't be doing without Konate and Virgil. But we did. They coped, and they gave us a few sort of heart skipping moments, but we did the business.
I think Matip and Gomez rose to the occasion. I was worried. Like George, I was worried when I seen that team at the back. But you got to give the boys credit. The 2 of them, they actually kept a clean sheet, and it's tremendous. All credit to them.
Yeah, also in the team in general, because the defensive part of the team was great. Jürgen, I think, said after the match that we knew before the game that Watkins is much faster than Matip. So we had to work together as a team to cover this. So the team was great, and the defense was also great.
I must admit, I was watching Match of the Day on Sunday night, and I remember thinking at one stage, hang on, when did Watkins come on?
I've seen him.
Yeah, they did such a good job on him, and he's a cracking striker. But as I say, did the business. Clean sheet. That's it. That's all you need. If you get a clean sheet every week, you're really in the fun zone.
Yeah, because we're going to score with the forward line we've got. We're going to score if we keep a clean sheet. We're going to win. I mean, we've got a phenomenal forward line. Absolutely phenomenal. One of the best, if not the best, in the Premier League, in my view.
Yeah.
especially as pundits at the start of the season had such high expectations of building the. So
Yeah.
it's good to contain them and as you say, keep a clean sheet. But I think Gomez done really well against Newcastle. Everyone was like, "Oh, Gomez," but he put a shift in, and I think that I feel that if the first game of the season against Chelsea, I think we showed them too much respect. I think after all the business of them getting Casado and Lavia and spending like £3 billion on like 2 players or 20 players or whatever, isn't it? I think we've gone in there with a bit of fear. And I think the turning point was the Newcastle game, because obviously they've got such a high expectation as well now.
Yeah.
Even though we haven't really bought like out of this world, as
I keep, one of my pet phrases now is I look at the TV and I say to my wife, remind me, how much did they pay for Caicedo? Yeah, I thought he's made an absolute fool of himself twice in successive weeks now. So that we're well out of that one.
Lavia's not even on the bench. Lavia's not even on the bench.
No, he just disappeared into thin air. I mean, Chelsea, I don't know how they're getting away with it, because they seem to be sort of sticking a pin in the list of playing staffs everywhere and getting the checkbook out, and that's the end of it.
I think they're storing up problems, because as a professional footballer, you want to play. If you're not playing, you get restless and it causes trouble. And they've got so many players there. How he's going to pick a team regularly and not leave people out is going to be very difficult. They've got such a big squad, spent so much money.
Well, they got banned from the Champions League, didn't they? Or they couldn't buy because they bought that many kids.
Yeah.
And they're just going back to the same thing, and it seems like he's just thought, you know what, let's buy them all and let's put them on these massive contracts, and then if we get done for FFP and we get a 3-year ban, 2-year ban, we've got all these players, and there you go. And then he'll just start selling all the older players, bringing in all these like new ones. I feel.
Have you still got your boots, George?
Yes, I've still got the books. Yeah, I've still got them. Yeah.
I'll
keep sending them out. I think they'll be running out soon. I've read yours, George, as well, and I've read Marios's book as well. They're brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're all cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. I know. I need to write a book.
George and I have been watching Liverpool for about nearly 60 years. I mean, it's amazing, and it's an honour to be on the same show as him. What he's done over the years, that voice is
soft. I never get out on the pitch. I've been trying to. Yes, it's 63 and a half years since I started going. I keep telling people, nobody believes me. My dad never took me to a game when I was a little boy. I don't know why, because his attitude was that I was a schoolboy and he was the dad who went to work and then went to the football on a Saturday, and never the twain shall meet. It was very hard. I only started going when I was at senior school. I was 14, nearly 14 when I first went to Anfield. I bypassed the boys' pen, which I'm very grateful for. What I remember of that place, I really didn't think it was my cup of tea at all, but I was a copite for a long time, and I did my time on the cop.
It was really full in the reserve games. The boys' pen, they always used to go in there.
That's right.
Kids, when we used to play.
Blimey.
Happy days.
Well, I put my glasses on because I know my dad likes to read out a few of the comments, doesn't he? So I'll do a comment. So we've got Jamie Phillips, football chats. Hi Francine, how are you? I'm fine if I can get a word in edgeways, but obviously I haven't wrote the book, so I haven't got that many words to fill. But how are all you lads as well? Are you okay?
Yeah. Yep. Jamie Phillips is brilliant, isn't he? When he's on the show, he's really, really good. I enjoy watching him. Him and Frank.
I'm just scrolling down the comments now.
Right. So then
I like that comment. Keegan Murphy, what a name to be a football fan. Chelsea fans are still talking about needing just a few more players. No, as my old dad used to say, whatever you're up against, it's still 11 against 11.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, that's St James's Park, in which case it's 10 against 12, but we won't go into that. But I know we've been through it recently. When AC Milan were winning everything in sight, what was it, 20-odd years ago? I remember saying the same thing then. They've got all this money, but they can still only put 11 players on the pitch. And
Yeah, exactly, George. Yeah, exactly. 11 players, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Stephen Snape, yeah.
Well, I want to be honest as well before I read Stephen. Can you tell me about Gravenberch? What you know? I've looked at clips. My son's and said he's full tank. So I just want to know what your feelings are about him as well.
Personally, I haven't clapped eyes on him, but again, it's he's come on the scene, and we've got two Germans now, haven't we, who know what they're doing, who are sourcing these players, and they've again the same as with Endo. They've been doing their homework over Gravenberch. He had a bad time apparently in Germany, but going back to when he was playing in Holland, cracking player, and he's even though if you hadn't seen him kick a ball, he looks good. He looks big and hard, and what we need somebody at the back. I mean, I had a lot of respect for Fabinho. He was a devil to get past. I wouldn't fancy being the last line of defence, but we'll see. I mean, who's going to make way for him? I don't know. But on the other hand, does anybody have to? No. We've got a squad. We haven't started in Europe yet, and we've still got the cup competitions to come along, and we're going to need all these guys. And the other thing is, I'm glad to see Shavin Callagher still with us, because there was talk of him going somewhere else, but he's going to make his mark one way or the other. I mean, was it the season before last when Alisson was crocked? We got away with that, no problem, because he really is a good keeper. Anywhere else, there'd be no arguing about who was the number one keeper.
Being the first team. Mm-hmm.
That's always been the way at Liverpool. We've always had, a cracking keeper in reserve. I mean, going back, donkey's years to, when we had, a reserve keeper in the days before there were lots and lots of substitutes. I mean, I'd like to get my hands on the guy at FIFA who said you can have 5 substitutes every game. That it's driving me batty. Now, I mean, last Saturday was a classic example of there was a queue of players on the side of the pitch waiting to come on, and there's 3 of us sitting there trying to work out who's coming on, who's going off, and watching the sun shining in the eyes of the 4th official and off the board, and half the time you just hope you've got away with it. Touch wood. Very quickly, we've got away with it so far. But
in my day, George, I'd have been delighted to have 5 substitutes.
Well,
I'd have had about 70, 80 appearances in the first team.
That's right. I remember, obviously, that the days when there were no such things as substitutes. The classic, the Jerry Byrne Cup final. You can think about it now.
I know.
Jerry Byrne, if it happened now, poor Jerry would have been straight off and off to the hospital. People don't believe me when I say this guy broke his collarbone and played 90 minutes plus extra time.
Yeah,
and we won the cup. It's you watch some of these guys now. That somebody said to me, who was it? One of the Villa players on Saturday. He said he rolled over more than a dice in the casino when he was tackled. You'd think he'd been shot from a distance, but anyway.
Shankly said he was the strongest man in the world.
Yeah. Well, I'll drink to that.
Francine, you were talking about Gravenberch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like George, I don't know much about him, but he strikes me as a good holding midfield player,
Yeah,
a world-class international. And I think when he gets to Klopp will put his mark on him, blend him into the
Oh,
team,
of
and I think
course.
he'll be a great addition to the squad. Like George said, we don't need him to come straight in front. We're got to have a big squad, midfield, really make it strong. So we go through the European games and the League Cup and the FA Cup. So I think it's a brilliant signing, personally. Would
Me
you?
too. Yes. Me too, because he had the
Okay.
motivation also to show things that he couldn't in Bayern. So he's a chance for he's very young, so he's a chance for his career to bounce back.
Yeah, couldn't be at a better place.
I believe that too. I mean, I know money's a big thing, and we'll talk about like Salah and the Saudi bids and stuff, but like you want players to want to play for your team, don't you? And I wouldn't have wanted Casado now. I mean,
Yeah.
not just because of what he's been calamitous, but when it's all about the money. And there was a photo of Lavia, and he was just like that, sulking.
Depressed.
And it's the agents in the game, isn't it? Because they get a better cut, or I just think it's like they're ruining footballers' careers because he's only a young lad. They've got about 20 DMs. So where's he going to fit in the pecking order? Because obviously Casado's going to get dropped.
115 million for him is a joke, because they only paid 4 million for him, and he's only had a limited number of first team games. His first game for Chelsea, he gave away a penalty. And I'm not saying he's not a good player. He obviously is, and he'll develop well. But I'm glad we didn't get him, because, as you say, Francine, he didn't want to come. And if they don't want to come to Anfield, then don't sign him.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. But you don't get.
Sorry.
No, you don't get the passion, do you? Off a player. It's like, especially because we have this like wage cap as well. We don't exceed. I know, like with Salah, we've gone above and beyond, but that shows you if a player wants to come, doesn't it? That just is the makings of every player, really. And I thought. Sorry. No, I'm going to go into another subject, so I'm not going to. I'll just leave it. So go on, your thoughts, George Sefton.
No, I was just going to say, I think Jurgen Klopp does his homework on the signings that he signs. I think he likes them to be the right character for the club and to blend into the team. And I think he does a lot of the homework before he signs somebody. And all the people he signed so far seem to come into that category.
Yeah, and that's why he talks straight to the player, to every possible player. He has a personal conversation before he signed the player.
Yeah, that's Jurgen's greatest asset, is his ability to keep players happy. Every other club, if somebody's on the bench for a couple of weeks, look what's going on at Old Trafford with good old Sancho bleeding into the papers. If that had happened in your day, George, you would have been nailed to a wall somewhere, wouldn't it? No, mine.
Can you imagine? Did you just imagine it? It's unbelievable.
It's not on. I mean, two of my favourite players over the years, John Aldrich. You must have heard the story. When he heard Liverpool were interested in buying him, he just jumped in his car and went up to. He met Peter Robinson on motorway services, and Peter's getting the contract out, and he said, "Forget all that rubbish. Just give me a pen."
Absolutely.
And then Michael Robinson's the other one. He heard that Liverpool were interested. Liverpool were touring somewhere in Europe, and he went home, packed an overnight bag, got a plane over to Holland, found them, and said, "Where do I sign?" No ifs, buts, or he didn't care how much money. And Kevin Keegan was the same. He was at his interview, got out of the office, and his dad slapping around his head. Hang on, you didn't mention money. And he went back in. "Excuse me, Mr. Shankly, we didn't mention money." And Shanks went mad. He said, "You're playing for Liverpool, son. That's all you need to know. We'll sort the money out." And that's the way it should. Even though the money's obviously a lot bigger nowadays, I don't think any of our current first team squad are going to starve to death anytime soon.
Of
No.
course.
They're all happy, you know.
I'm made up the way they've gelled as well together.
Yeah.
I mean, Keegan Murphy has said, "What a performance! Finally, look back to the old Liverpool."
Here.
Yeah.
Great to see.
Yeah, well, I said, I that gave me so much confidence that I'm not afraid of anyone. I think Szoboszlai is another level. You know, we always compared and we go like, what side? I'm sorry to name this player, but what side would Curtis Jones walk into? But I think was like Szoboszlai would fit into Man City. Any of
what a signing he is!
Phenomenal, phenomenal. My favourite player. Well, no, Mo Salah is, but I'm not. I'm trying to hold back on Mo. So somebody else says Redbird. Finally, we have a player to wear our famous number 8.
Yeah, like Stevie. Yeah,
true.
Every game he's played, he's been outstanding, and he's been the man of the match for me.
Oh, and me. Apart from obviously Nunes when he scored them 2, you can't.
That was heaven.
But he looks.
That was on another plane.
When he went like that and blew a kiss and winked. Did you see the back of? Have you seen the shot when he done that? So the shot where it's the back of him, and there was a girl standing there smiling. And he done that, and everyone else are putting 2 fingers up and 1 finger, and
Did
you see that?
Yeah, fabulous. They cried up in the balcony, brilliant.
So yes, we've got loads saying hello to us all. Charlie Cairns, Anfield Raw, Redbird, Stephen Snape. They're all in saying hello. And then even Gomez had a good game. Well, we touched on that. I think Gomez, them 2 games he's played, because usually make a mistake per game, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And you'd be like,
After 89 minutes, he's terrific. Then he just he nearly blew it on Saturday.
He did.
Just
true,
once.
True.
But we got away with it. So that,
in the first half,
we let him have one.
We've got Stephen Snape says
midfielders
like George. I'm excited going forward. Yeah.
Well, the midfield's also young, isn't it? It's young. You've got a young midfield. You've got the 3 new guys are all young, and you've got Bajcetic and Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones, and you've got a young midfield and a couple of experienced players as well, internationals. It's a brilliant blend. And from nowhere and filled it and rebuilt it.
Harvey Elliott's played well when he's come on.
Yes.
He's been a magnificent substitute. Klopp sometimes has been called out, hasn't he, for the substitutions? Why is he subbed him and all this? But I think the past few games, his substitutions have been spot on.
Been brilliant,
especially
match winning.
Well,
especially in Newcastle, it was his game. It was a win.
When Jota came on, it started to happen as well.
I didn't rate Jota. I didn't rate Jota on Sunday though.
No, but when he came on, I got a bit more space up front, a little bit more space. I thought, Nunes took advantage. Great ball from Mo.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm gonna look, I'm gonna say this name wrong, aren't I? So Quansah, a star in the making. What's his rate?
Another one,
yeah,
absolutely.
George, I forgot you're the voice of Anfield. So if I can't say something, I'm going to ask you to say it because you say it all the time.
Yeah, I put an early plea in. What I'd really like before I pop my clogs is for Liverpool to sign somebody called John Smith or something. Instead of all these guys with 18
Yeah, I know you can't
syllables in their
pronounce the
name,
names. It's shocking.
we've been all right so far. I mean,
George
Quansell's a piece
Scott.
of cake, it compared to
Yeah.
when Bacic comes on, the people in 5 yards of me have got going like this with the back of the neck. I've coped so far. The touch wood, and it's easier now because all these players are all over the media before they ever get anywhere near us. So you've heard professionals pronouncing them most of the time, so I can get along with that. I think you've known. I've said it in writing more than once. I owe my career to a guy called Jack Sweeney, who was one of my teachers at school. He taught me Spanish and Russian. And if you can cope with all that stuff, you can cope with most things. I mean, the strange relate, the one that's caused me the most trouble the last few years is Jordan Ibe, because when he came, it was eBay, and then Ibe. I think Jurgen used to call him Ivy, didn't it? Then it was I've lost track of what he calls himself now. But in the good old days, I'd collar people. I saw Bruce Grobbelaar in Norway a couple of weeks ago, and I was reminding him the first time I saw him actually was at Tommy Smith Club in Liverpool in 1981, and I collared him. I said, "Please tell me, how do you pronounce your name correctly?" And he just looked at me. He said, "Just call me the Jungle Man from Africa." And he went off and disappeared. And I thought, but obviously we're all up to it now. But he's a lunatic. I love Bruce, but he's barking mad.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I played golf with him a few times.
He's such great company. He never stops.
So we've had a few people say, Marios, your book's great.
Thank you. Brilliant.
All talking about, Liverpool and, making, people saying that Villa had a poor game, but no, we were just that good. We've got, hello, George Sefton, great to see you live at Honor. You'll never walk alone. That's from Jake Kismet. You'll never walk alone.
Thanks, Mum. Yeah. Great to see you live. Does that mean you're surprised to see me alive? Yeah.
And he's also blessed Marios and George as well.
Thank you.
Been blessed. Thank you.
I was double impressed with Marios's book on two levels. It's a great book in its own right, but then when you sit back and think that the author is not English, it's just unbelievable. I don't know. I took a copy over to Jurgen. I don't know if you've heard back from the boss since Marios, but I know Jurgen's got it, but he's notoriously slow at responding to stuff like that. But it's an absolute. I mean, I don't read much nowadays. It sounds odd, but I don't. I just never have the time. I'm a real social media person, but I read that thing cover to cover, and I was. Things I'd never heard before. And I think we said at the launch, didn't we? The research you did on that was just crazy, considering, I was amazed to discover, the quality of the thing. And then when we met you in your first visit to Liverpool, I just couldn't believe it. But you made the most of that weekend, didn't you?
Yeah.
No mistake. Yeah.
You got the Anfield atmosphere there, Marios, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, George. Thank you so much.
Well done.
It's the old classic. I know. I always say to people, if you've never actually been to Anfield, you've no idea what the atmosphere is like. You can see it on the telly. You can hear the roar. You can see the colour. You can hear the music. But as soon as you get inside the place on match day, then you understand what it's all about. And once you're in, you're hooked.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when the game finished. When the game finished, sorry, Francine. When the game finished, I immediately thought, I will come back soon here.
You will.
as soon as you can get a ticket, it'll be about 2095 the way it's going on. If they ever build this stand, all right.
I think the season, the fans permeate all the positivity, and vice versa from the team to ourselves, and you can feel that the atmosphere is back. I mean, I think last season was dreadful, and but I'm a moaner and I'm a forever.
No, surely not. Not you, Francine.
But, people always misunderstand that, I still support my team no matter what my feelings are. And, I still love it when we win, and I love it when, I don't love it when we lose. But I mean, when we go through, and people then go to me, well, why do you like that? Because I'm a fan. And, we have our opinions on things, and, that's that. But yeah, so I'm just going to bring in other people who feel about our start of the season as well. So Gareth Williams says, hi all, outstanding start of the season. This team has gelled great so far, and that win up at Newcastle showed a tough mentality. Zabozo is a top-class player, and Gomez has been fantastic the last few games. But it's everything we've touched on, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was a fantastic win in Newcastle. When you think we went down to 10 men with a captain taken off against Newcastle and that crowd, it was an unbelievable result, and it was so classic at the end when those two goals went in the same corner. I couldn't believe it. I was like everybody else, all of our fans. I thought, we've got to draw, we've got a point. The next minute, bang, and we got 3 points. It's incredible.
And how hard with them, the goals. I mean, they were. I mean, I've only scored about 3 of them in my professional life anyway. And what about you, George? How many would you say average of them type of goals have you scored?
I think at Liverpool, I scored about 100 goals, over 100 in various teams, from the C team to the reserves. I thought 38 goals for the reserves in 106 games. And I couldn't get in a team. That shows you how good they were. With that classic forward line, Callaghan, Hunt, St. John, and Thompson. It's unbelievable. And no substitutes. Shankly just loved them, and the crowd loved them. And that started it all. And look where Klopp's taken us now. He's the modern Shankly, in my view. I've said it many times. He's the same character. He loves the fans. He knows who makes him tick.
Yeah.
The only difference is the accent, that's all.
Yeah, just about. Redbird 09, my boy Darwin had a great game, unlucky not to score. That so-called miss was because goals got a fingertip to the ball, and Darwin had to adjust at the last minute.
Yeah, that's the thing. It could have been about 5 or 6 quite happily, couldn't it, on Sunday? The and the same it always worries me when you get through a game and you're having a lot of near misses, but they just keep plugging away, and Darwin got his reward in the end, and the previous weekend as well at Newcastle. I must admit, I was 10 men and we went 1-0 down. I was not happy bunny.
We all were. Yeah, I know. It was a great result.
I know, and Diaz was playing well, and he was the one that forfeited his role, didn't he? And I was like, oh. But Nunes come. Do you know what? And do you know what is like? Is like sod's law is all the Newcastle fans and every fan was calling Nunes the Andy Carroll. And
Captain
and then he just goes and does that against them. Yeah.
I was even starting to feel sorry for Eddie Howe for a minute. It only lasted about 30 seconds, but after that I was hurling abuse at the telly. That's and I was just so nice to see the faces of the Newcastle fans. If we weren't in the league, I'd be pleased to see Newcastle win something, because they've got such a loyal fan base.
Yeah,
and they haven't won anything for so long.
I think it's 44 years.
Yeah, since before you were born.
Is it? Wow. Yeah, Jackie Milburn and all those guys.
That's it. Oh dear, happy days.
It's terrible though, because
Yeah,
they're a
so-
one-club city, aren't they? One-club city, Newcastle.
Yeah.
The stadium's right in the middle of the city. You can't miss it. And the
Yeah.
Geordies are wonderful, wonderful fans, like the Scousers.
So I have to say as well, if whoever's watching, please like and subscribe. Even though if you've liked before, you've got to like again. And to be honest, you should be liking even more because I'm on.
Yeah.
True.
I'm
That's
like
true.
a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Maybe,
With all
I don't
due
know.
respect,
In this
Frank,
shanky coat, I'm sweating.
You're much better looking than the usual host, Francine.
Yeah.
The
Mr. Batty will be drinking Guinness now. You'll be off drinking Guinness, Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm open, so I'm sure I've seen him, his name pop up as if like they're having a look in. I'm sure I saw that before. But I don't
you
know.
won't keep him away.
No, we can't
know,
keep him out.
No, that's the thing, isn't it? But I was just scrolling through then to see whether there was anything. But I want to. I'll just do a few more of these. So, Keegan Murphy. Funny thing is, all the Chelsea fans are talking about needing just a few players to be complete.
The strange lot of Chelsea fans.
Oh, dear.
My eldest lives in Crawley. He's the boss of a big IT department down there. He says he got a lot of Chelsea fans working for him, and he'd be on the phone to me, and he'd be, oh God, what a shower. They really are. They're just. I think his pet phrase was, "They're just not nice people," and that sums it up. Somebody just asked me down there, Kismet, my best ever game at Anfield. People ask me this all the time, and it's a no-brainer. Barcelona, 2019, 3-0 down.
Yeah.
I still have. I've closed my eyes now. I can still see that fourth goal going in.
Yeah.
And at the time I was very quiet because I didn't announce the goal simply because I thought the referee was going to call it back and say too quick, and then he didn't. And something I should say while we've got all these millions of people listening tonight. Saturday there was a very long gap after each goal before I read the goal score out. That was because they had the world's dosiest VAR staff going on Saturday. What they were doing between the goal going in and then saying, check over. I think they must have nipped out to the loo or gone and made a coffee or something a couple of times. People keep, more than once somebody radioed through to me, said that was Mo who scored the goal. And I'll say, yes and no, I'm just waiting for VAR to say, that was
every goal,
it's a good goal.
It's not only a problem like the players to celebrate, but also for the announcements to announce, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, it'll be the death of me.
Well, you've also got Mary Wallace said. Oh, sorry. I know, I bet you will. But Mary Wallace said, George, you need to play AC/DC Thunderstruck all the time at Anfield.
Yeah, it's settled. I'll be playing that before kickoff for the rest of my career. I had a letter from somebody last year saying we should stop playing that rubbish. I know hundreds of people around here who hate it, say it's low, it destroys the atmosphere. And I emailed this fella back. I said, right, will you give me a list of these hundreds of people, and I'll write to them all and explain. I never heard any more from it. What he meant was, I don't like it. That means the other 53,000 don't like it either, which is nonsense. I think it's been great since we've been playing it.
It's brilliant track.
Well, so I've got a David Shakespeare on, and he's put, I don't know your name, so this is where I want to go into, Salah now. I don't know your names, but can you please introduce yourselves and tell me? So I'm Francine. I'm Frank Carlyle's daughter. This is George Stefton, the voice of Anfield. Oh, you can't see me. I'm pointing. This is Marios. Marios, what's your surname? Mantos?
Manjos,
Manzos.
yes, Manjos.
Manzos.
Not Jota,
He's the
Manjos.
writer, yeah, Manzos. He's the writer of the Jurgen Klopp book, The Social One, and is George Scott, and he was a Liverpool player under Bill Shankly.
And
he's the
Paul
writer
Walker
of
of
the
the
book.
Lost Shankly Boy.
Oh yeah, of the Lost Shankly Boy.
Yeah. Actually,
It's
Francine, it's about time you wrote a book and joined the club.
I know. I can't write.
Yeah.
The Lost Carlyle Girl.
My book would be, I don't know, it would just be rubbish. I haven't accomplished nothing yet. I'm trying. I do comedy. I do comedy, and I'm trying to accomplish something with that. I'm a nurse, and I'm trying to accomplish something with that. And I do aesthetics as well. If anyone fancies like two lips or want to reduce lines, I do that as well. I'm just a bit easy. But yeah, so the big worry, because putting on Facebook and Twitter and, well, it's not called that, X now, Salah's gone 215 million, all this. So he says, do you think that Salah will leave? This is David Shakespeare.
And I don't think he'll leave this side of January for sure. That's my view. I mean, who knows in the future? Jurgen seems to think he's happy and settled here, but money talks. It's a very delicate situation, I would imagine, for the club, really. Not an easy situation. He's 31. He's still got 4 or 5 good years in him, I think. He's so fit. I'd hate to lose him. All us fans would hate to lose him. But hopefully we can keep him this season at least. Our fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, everyone says he had a bad season last season, and I think it was something like 16 assists and 24 goals or something ridiculous, and if that's what a bad season is for a winger,
every season is a bad season.
Bring it on. I love Mo Salah to the point that I would marry him.
He's been responsible for 24% of all Liverpool's goals since Klopp signed him. I read that this morning.
He's just amazing.
Goals or assists.
He's just amazing, and I still feel that. All right, I think every Liverpool fans has it in their heads, especially the way the Saudis have just come in and picked Liverpool players and ex-Liverpool players. Whether it's Gini Wijnaldum, Mane, Firmino, Fabinho, all these and I think everyone has it in the head that Salah will go next season, but you go to that league and he's still in peak condition. Yeah. What will he gain from going? I know he'll gain money and stuff like that, but he won't win, not unsubstantial or anything.
That's all he'll gain, money. He won't gain anything else.
No.
Like he's the best Arab, isn't he, to ever play football? Yeah. And obviously, and Saudi Arabia, I love that. I mean, they were all wearing his mask, weren't they? Last weekend. Yeah. And so you get a bit scared of all this, and you think, is he going to go? But you said something about Jurgen and the type of player he picks.
Yeah.
And they're very humble. Like when Mane and all these things about what he's done in Senegal and builds and schools, hospitals, looking after his village. You've seen that, and I feel that he's still got that sort of stance, but I do think he will go next season, and then I think we get Mbappe.
There'll come a point where somebody who knows nothing about football, who's in the head office of somebody or other, saying 215 million. 31-year-old. Off you go. It's happened before on a smaller scale. I mean, going back to was it Jeff Twentyman went off to Villa? Was it years and years ago? Yeah. And I think Shanks was not happy, but they offered what at the time was silly money for somebody of his age, and again, all players since time immemorial have got to a stage in their career where they're thinking, I'm getting to the end of my useful life. I need to set myself up for when I've given up football. Some of them go on, when Jamie Carragher's a classic, he's gone on. Who'd have thought that Jamie Carragher would be a top-class pundit, be a TV star? But there are other people. I mean, Ray Clements was another one. Liverpool offered him, what was it, a year when he was just turned 30, and Tottenham offered him 3, and off he went. He's still Liverpool. Well, not still, until the day he died, he was Liverpool through and through. But when he was getting past 30, he had to make his family secure for the rest of his life, and he went off. And again, he had a long career at Tottenham, and he got a few years out of him. So Mo's in the same bracket now. I'm sure he's probably set for life now. But when somebody comes to you and says, "I'm going to pay you £1.5 million every week," it doesn't matter how happy you are. You're thinking, what?
Well,
what do I do with that?
I'm very uncomfortable with the whole Saudi Arabian thing personally, because I go back in my history to the players I played with. Some of the legends in the game, them all, St. John, Hunt. They never earned any money like anything like this.
No.
And at the end of their careers, they drove a lorry, they opened a pub, they tried to survive. They had 40 years left to survive.
That's
these
right.
These lads now in the Premier League, they're multi-millionaires already.
Yeah.
How much money do you need? I mean, 250,000 a week, $500,000 a week. To me, I think you should be. I'm a bit of an old-fashioned crow on that. Love of the game, love of the fans, the magic of football, and it's going out of the game a bit with this. I think with all this money coming in, they snap the fingers and they think off we go to Saudi Arabia, and it's not real football so far. Anyway, I don't think.
No.
Just my personal
view. They're trying to give a good impression of setting up a league. Basically, the country they've decided, haven't they, as a country, that the oil is not going to sustain their economy for the indefinite future. So now it's sporting events, and they've seen the money that the Premier League generates in worldwide. Obviously, we play it in England and we sell it all around the world. It never ceases to amaze me how many people get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch Premier League matches on the far side of the planet. But the Saudis, it's a matter of policy now, and they've money is no object. FIFA really are the ones who should be saying, look, you can't be doing this, you can't be doing that. There must be a cap somewhere. But FIFA aren't going to do that. They see a dollar sign and their eyes light up, and that's the end of the argument. It's that's probably a sackable offence what I just said, but I don't care. It's true.
I think football's got to have some element of tradition and history. I mean, that's what football means: history, memories, big stars, big games, atmospheres. They haven't got that in Saudi, as far as I'm concerned. They've got a lot of big ex-players coming to the end of their careers who have been superstars to get the names in. But where's the shift in sand? Where's I've never watched one of those games. I don't know if any of you have.
No, neither do I.
So it's just money.
No, I haven't.
And I hope Mo stays.
Well, that brings us. I hope Mo stays, but it brings us on to. Does anyone see the comments from Henderson?
I've just been listening to that on Radio 5 before I plugged into you. I'm sorry I didn't hear the whole thing, but I've been defending Jordan, I must say, for the last few weeks. So I know he's getting slated for going to Saudi Arabia after what he said or what he stood up for. But I was thinking, I would have thought that made him a very brave man. He's stepping into the lion's den. But then some of the things he said today, he's been blinded by the checkbook, I'm afraid.
Brainwashed.
Yeah. Very sad. But,
do you know? I can't believe he says he was unwanted. He felt unwanted.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's really strange.
It's like, come on. And I don't know whether that's him trying to justify getting slated to go in Saudi. So he's told, well, tell you what, I'm going to feel unwanted. And it's not about the money. And it's like, okay. And I think to end it with, and it's not about the money, I think then you just see right through that statement. And I don't know who's advising them, because I know they're all getting advised. They all get advised, don't they?
Yeah.
What they say and everything. And whoever's advising them has done it totally wrong now, because I still think that, you know, as a fan, whatever me thing, you know, you want everyone to do well, don't you? And he's just turned a sword, really.
I think the thing is, football develops, doesn't it? You know, we've said before in this program, when Shankly changed the team in 1970, the big team was getting older and they were just going over the top. And I think with Jordan's a great player, a fantastic captain, but a wonderful servant. I think you come to a stage when maybe other players like we've got now are coming in, pushing him.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe he might not have played too many games this year from the start. And he may be thinking, may as well jump off the ship. But I haven't seen what he said today, but I'm surprised if he said anything bad about the club, because, you know, he's been a fantastic captain.
Yeah. But the word unwanted sounds really strange, because, you know, when Jordan left the club, I remember Klopp saying that he was surprised from the fact that Jordan was leaving the club, and that Jordan knew that Klopp wanted him to stay. So how does he feel unwanted? I don't understand. I don't understand what he means with the word unwanted. You know, he came to Jürgen and said, okay, I have an offer from Saudi that I really consider it. So Jürgen told him about his playing time, and then he decided to leave. So I don't understand the mindset of Jordan in this interview. It's really strange. And I think it was unnecessary, I think.
Yeah. I haven't read it. I'll have to read it.
It's just the points, just point, not the whole interview yet.
I've got to
just froze, Francine.
a lot of things. Yeah. Oh, again, you all have a froze now.
No, you're back. You're all right.
Have a froze now.
No, you're still going. You need to get your dad to buy you a new laptop for Christmas, Francine. That's the bottom line. Or get a different broadband provider.
Tommy's
I don't know what's going on.
Tommy's on.
My dad's on the best broadband. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see you.
Can you see me now? Hello? Oh, I don't know. Oh, having trouble connecting. Someone's trying to.
Come back.
What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Am I on? Right, I don't know. Anyway, so Ian, who comes on sometimes, Ian Golder, on Sunday, he's doing Tough Mudder for two charities, Bliss and for Macmillan. So I'm going to just put this up now. So this is what it's for. It's supporting Macmillan and Bliss for babies born premature or sick. So if you just could back them on that, and it's all for a good cause, really. It'll be on. I think a link's going to be put on. I don't know. Just show your support, so people know it's very close to people's hearts. And then I've got I know that my dad does this advertisement for all your books as well. So I'm sorry if I'm a bit slow and I'm a bit I don't know, unprofessional. But my dad loves a bit of hat, scarf and badge. He flew off in one of his t-shirts today. And yeah, so and then we've got Jamie Phillips's football chats. We've got the Liverpool Connection podcast. We've got an evening with Phil Thompson. That's on the 14th of the 9th, 2023. And it includes a Q&A, entertainment, auction and raffle. And that is in the Little Theatre in Birkenhead.
Lovely.
We also We also have, which, you know, I must say, Marios, I know I don't read as much as my dad but I just flick them up. But everyone's raving about your book. And I've been following you as well. And, you know, you've got really good people like saying, you know, how great it is. George, and myself and my dad all agree as well.
Yes.
And Stephen Snake.
Those are first.
Thank you so
And
much.
then we've got Red Odyssey. Oh God, there's loads. But we've got in the bottom middle, we've got George Scott's very own The Lost Shankly Boy. Another great read. It's fascinating, and you've told me a few of the stories, but then to put it all in a whole picture, it was really, you know, it was really good. Well, you know, well done, well written.
Thanks very much.
And,
That's about it.
It's 3 years ago, man. I can't believe it's 3 years.
But you know what, George, right? If you'd have been like in today's, or, you know, when there was substitutions, who knows? You know, it was just an unfortunate time that you were at, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was for quite a few of us, really. It was quite a few other boys as well that were very unlucky. But, you know, Liverpool did unbelievable without us. It was a pleasure to write the book with Jeff. I can't believe it's nearly 3 years. But people are still asking me for it, and I'm still sending it out and still doing okay.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. And, you know, it's, for me, as a Liverpool fan, it's such an honour to have the three of you on, and to have met the three of you as well, and to know you, you know, personally. It's great.
Likewise.
And The Voice of Anfield. I read this a few years ago, George, and this is another take on an eye on Liverpool. You know, we've got the player, we've got the person who's like done the research about the manager, and then we've got the voice of Anfield. I mean, you know, you're a name within your own right, aren't you?
I know. I don't. There are people who think I don't actually exist. They think I'm just some sort of robot with AI or whatever. But I mean, that quote came from Jurgen on telly the day the hardback came out in 2021, and I still can't believe I heard him say that. And that,
Wow.
I mean, God bless Jurgen. I don't know what any of it would have done. I'm forever in his debt.
Oh,
absolutely.
It's amazing. It's just amazing. We had dreams and songs to sing. Is this another book by Keith Salmon?
Yeah, a great writer. Wonderful.
And that's the end of the books. God, there's a lot, isn't it, to go through? Like a library.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. But as I say, it you know, I'm really pleased to meet you all, and you know, and it's only through my dad, obviously, but yeah, it's an honour for me, you know, to give George Sefton. I give George Sefton a cuddle all the time, you know.
Luckily, my wife isn't watching this.
You never know, George.
But yeah, and you know, I as I say, I'm really honoured, and we've talked before, George Sefton, because there's one thing that everyone does and asks you, you know, apart from what was the best night that you've ever seen, but they all ask you for tickets as well, don't they? Everyone always asks you for a ticket for the match.
Yeah. Oh, to drive me batty. You know, it's tickets are the bane of everybody's life at Anfield nowadays, and it's got worse this year. I've been thinking for a couple of years, when they build a new stand, the ticketing problem will disappear. It's got worse because of what's happened with the new stand. I believe the builders all packed up yesterday and went home. So what's going to happen? I do not know. And people, ever since I've been doing this job, people think three things. They think, A, I get 100 grand a week like some of the players. B, they think I'm bosom pals with the manager. And C, I get 500 free tickets for every game. No. I don't get any tickets to any game nowadays. It's it's I've given up now. I have no entitlement. I haven't got a season ticket. I mean, Istanbul was the cracker. I took 2 of my kids to the airport and saw them off and picked them up again later. And then people were saying to me, "Why aren't you in Istanbul?" And I said, "Well, I asked myself the same thing. I should do, but I wasn't asked." There you go. Such is life. I'm getting too old now.
That's sad, that though, George, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but it's it'll all be good stuff. Book 2 will be out in 2026. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
It's called Behind Closed Doors.
People think
that's sinister, but it isn't. Just because just after my book, The Voice of Anfield, finished, it was the season we played right through behind closed doors, and you wouldn't believe the antics going on behind the scenes and when that was going on.
Wow.
I mean, I used to struggle to get in the ground. There's all these new stewards and 12-year-old security guards who didn't know who I was, and then halfway through the season, if you remember, Liverpool started using one of the lounges to vaccinate people against COVID. I had to struggle past all these stewards who didn't know who I was, and then past all the NHS volunteers who didn't know who I was. And in the end, when the first copy of the book came out, I had my one test copy. I used to take it with me and say, "This is me. 50 years at Anfield. I know where I'm going. You don't have to guide me to the lift. Thank you very much."
It's a story in itself, isn't it?
Well, yeah. That's the whole idea. And I say, I've been looking forward to working in a stadium that held 61,000 people, and I'm still looking forward to that. They've got to finish the stand sometime. But now I'm thinking Jurgen's contracted to 2026. I'll be 80 in 2026, and I'm thinking that if I'm not in somewhere secure by then, I'll be great if I'm still doing what I'm doing now. I might manage.
You're never going to retire, are you, George?
No, I'm going to drop dead when they have another 15 minutes added time at the end of the game and we score 2 goals. I've probably said to you, I think that 2 things are going to happen to me. Either Liverpool are going to score the winner in the 98th minute again, and I'll drop dead of a heart attack, or one Sunday morning, my wife will find me dead in the chair with a scrumbled up winning lottery ticket in my hand. That'll be me. I've won, clunk. We'll see.
Don't sign your name on the back of it beforehand. They want to be able to cash it.
No. Yeah, never mind.
So I mentioned before, I think Tommy Bassey has joined, and if you've seen that I've been putting up, yeah, he did. He has. We've got Yamas now. So he is listening. So hello. I don't know if my dad's okay. Because my dad hasn't mentioned anything, but
he'll be in bed.
So yeah, so this is George Scott from Anfield Road. Hang on. As a player, how difficult would this VAR offside have been, where the attacker seems to have no advantage anymore over brilliant runs?
Yeah, I think with the VAR, I think George mentioned it before. It's very frustrating because a goal is scored, the crowd erupt, the player celebrates, and you inevitably have to wait 2 or 3 minutes, and then you don't know what's going on, and then it's disallowed or it's allowed, and then you either start cheering again or you go boo. In my day, the linesman raised the flag, you were offside. If you didn't raise the flag, you weren't offside, and it worked okay, and it tended to balance out over the year. And when it first came in, I used to think, well, it's great for the goal line if it's over the line or not. VAR. Yeah. And it's maybe good if it's in the penalty box or outside the penalty box. But there's so many things been going on with tackles, and whether it's a red or a yellow, and whether it's a a fingernail offside or a knee offside, and it's just becoming a little bit silly, I think, to be honest. Is what I would say to Anfield Road there. I preferred it in my day, when you knew exactly. You could argue with the linesman, but the next week you got it against you, and then you got it for you. I suppose in one way adds to the excitement of the game, but there's a lot of injustice, I think. I mean, for example, last season, Manchester City were playing Everton, and there was a blatant handball penalty in the penalty box, and it wasn't given by the guy who is a Manchester City supporter. And we lost the league because of that.
Yeah.
And Everton relegated. And that's the sort of thing. You look at some of the decisions. Why was that Man City goal disallowed on Saturday when Ake was right in front of the goalkeeper? There's so many. And at the end of the day, it's just one man's opinion. Whoever's on that screen, he makes a decision. So I'm not happy with it personally at Anfield Road.
No, well, I'm not impressed. So they introduced VAR to make it better. But this season, it seems to have got worse.
Worse.
I mean, it's just, and as you say, then this biasness comes in then. So
look at that decision on Saturday with Trent Alexander. He gets pushed from the back, pushed off the pitch.
Yeah.
And he gets up and he's frustrated and he just throws the ball on the pitch. He gets booked, the other guy doesn't. Gordon. How crazy was that? Exactly. And he could have been sent off. A few minutes later, he put his elbow up and he could have walked, and the referee chickened out.
Well, that's where it all led to Van Dijk's, increase on his ban as well, isn't it? Because he was saying to him, whatever he was saying to him, because I might get banned if I say one words off me dad. But meaning he got foul there, and you've totally got bypassed that, and now you're booking us left, right, and centre. I mean, Newcastle players were lunging in, fouling. There was one where he dragged one of our players by the shirt, and so they call us Liverpool, don't they? They call us Liverpool, these silly fans, and it's just for real. Is that even a thing? Because the injustices we've had against us, you can go for Tottenham, the Tottenham game, Man City game with Mane, all just lots of. So I personally, so what I remember about before VAR was we'd all go to the pub after the match, and we'd be having I wouldn't be having a pint, I'd be having a vodka and Diet Coke. But the lads would be having a pint, and it'd be like talking about how crap the referee was, what we do, and all this. When you've got this now touchline technology that's showing you like for like, and wiggly lines are getting drawn, and and it's all about perspective, isn't it? And opinion. Yeah. It's not, spot on. I think it's made it worse. Rather just have where we go there, call the referee crap or call him great or whatever, and then we have a discussion and then that's the end. But now I think it's a whole lot more, and then the time added on, it becomes like ridiculous.
Also, I think it's dangerous with the offside rule when the linesman keeps his flag down, even although it's offside, and waits until the play is finished and then puts it up. And the goalkeeper could be injured. The goalkeeper could come out, break his neck, injure himself. And I don't know where that rule comes from.
That is the stupidest rule FIFA have ever come up with. And they've come up with some stupid rules over the years, but that is just ridiculous. You say it's going to happen. Some poor slob is going to break his leg, or his hamstring is going to go, or something, and he's out for a season, and that'll all be down to this business about the linesman not putting this. Sorry, assistant referee, they're not linesmen anymore. They're not even lines persons anymore. Don't get me started.
No, it's a crazy rule.
But it is a crazy rule. Not only about the goalkeeper, but I mean, a forward or anyone could break the leg, get tackled by the goalie, or do the hamstring in, anything. And it is. And then you see the players, don't you, like looking as if saying, am I on side? Am I off? And you see that hesitancy, don't you? So, yeah. And then when they score a goal and then they're like that, do I celebrate? It just takes that whole momentum. And
it does. What's upset me most in the last few weeks is two things. I mean, Mike Dean coming out and saying there were decisions he didn't give because he didn't want to embarrass his mates. I forgot. What's that all about? And there was a thing going around today about Mark Halsey, who retired from refereeing a while ago, and I've seen it before. He said more than once he was told to shut up and and get on with it. And
the old pals act.
I mean, if VAR, if they're going to give the decisions and they get it right without any outside interference, okay, I can live with that. But at the moment, they're so slow, and they still getting it. I think they're even getting it more wrong than when we before we had it, which is what I think you said, Francine, about an hour ago. Yeah, it's going to drive us all into an early grave.
Yeah.
What about the comments over there?
And we spoke on, haven't we, Henderson?
Yeah. I know. Tommy Bassey's, because I've been seeing his comments, but obviously we're all talking, and I don't want to be rude. So he's like, can you see these comments?
Yes.
Roll on next Tuesday, get the class back on. So
the class are already on.
So I know. This is world class. These are world class. Neil Broderick says only Mbappe would soften the blow if we lost Mo. There's a bit of a rhyme as well.
I'm not that impressed with Mbappe.
We got young Doak. He looks a talent, doesn't
he? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. A question for the panel: do you think football is going the wrong way with social media, VAR, and too many games being played for players?
Yeah, well, I'm biased. Yes, I would say so.
And money too.
Social media has had a huge impact in the game.
Yeah,
a huge impact. The players, they can't go anywhere without being either abused or, I know, the Twitter and Facebook, and we never had that in the old days. And they're known all over the world. You can go to any country in the world, in the middle of the jungle, and people will know who Steve Gerrard is, or Harry Kane. It's just worldwide now, and it's just exploded through the internet. Really, it's amazing. And Sky TV, of course, Premier League. It's a different game.
It's also not good for the players, I think, because they have touch with so much information about them.
No hiding place.
About what the people are thinking of them.
Yeah.
And this is not helpful sometimes. And, I think an example is Darwin. When he came to Liverpool, he was reading a lot what it was written for him in social media, and his psychology was not that good. And he said after the game against Newcastle that he had stopped to read out what it was written about him.
Yes.
A lot of distraction, and don't forget the players are young ones,
young players,
young lads. Yeah. So it's really difficult for them to deal with this lots of information about them and their fame also.
Yeah, I would say don't read it, but it's difficult.
Oh yeah, you can't ignore most of it. I mean,
no, it's difficult.
I always say I get abused on Twitter, not as bad as it used to be, but and I always say, if I'm getting it down where I am, what the hell it must be like for the players who are, full on in the media, hour by hour is just unbelievable.
Well, I mean, I've seen some terrible things written about. I'll do like ex-players like Ginny Wijnaldum. I've seen people writing awful things, and there's an old saying, isn't there? Sticks and stones may bones, but names will never hurt me. But they do. It does, because from my mental health side, any if someone negative to you will take that on board. You could have 50 people saying how great you were, and one person could just go, "Ah, yeah, you know," and you will harbour that one person and just totally, you know, forget about what them other 50 people have said. And you know, to get that in the thousands, to get people like saying, "I hope your kids die," and you know, I mean, some of it is really, really, it's horrific.
It's outrageous, absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, it is. And it's a wonder. Well, I mean, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, that a lot of more footballers suffer with the mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's
it's a very high pressure, especially in the Premier League. You think every single time they go on that pitch, everybody's watching them worldwide. You can't give a bad pass away. If you give a bad pass away, you pass it to another player, a goal goes in, you get abused. You know, there's no hiding place. That's the pressure, but they get well paid for it, of course.
I remember when my book came out.
It is, but you know,
gone.
You're frozen again. Wave your hand. That's it. You're back.
A good thing is not, but you know, because mental health and everything is, I suppose when you get your negatives, you'll also have your positives as well, won't you? And it's like anything, we all have our ups and downs. So, you know, someone may call Salah, you know, not fit to burn, but then someone will call him the Egyptian king, I suppose. You know, where we go with it all. I want to talk about the international break now. And obviously, and I hate international breaks. So history has it that we always have a bad game, or when we take our players away, you know, to training like Malaga or somewhere. We always come back and we think, oh, that's it. You know, we'll have a great, and we always get beat. So we don't want to jinx us, like, so I'm touching wood. But we've got a lot of internationals. I think we've got, is it 5 captains now, haven't we, of international sides?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of international breaks, especially, you know, if it's not like if it's a friendly or whatever, and you know, the chance of injury and things? Because I think a lot of our South Americans are all playing for the Copa America, isn't it? The qualifiers.
You just got to hope and pray they don't get injured. That's the thing, really. I think FIFA have got a word in this. There's a certain amount of international breaks they have to have in a year. But it's very early in the season to have an international break. We've only played 4 games and off they go. And there's another one later in the year again.
We've got 3 in a row, haven't we, this year? Yeah. Never known that before. But, I mean, I understand they've got to squeeze these things in somewhere, but they are taking too much of a chunk out of the regular season now. Obviously, last year was crazy. The World Cup in December, just insane. But again, we're going back to FIFA and the brown envelopes again, aren't we? But this year should be better. We've got the Euros next summer. I love these these tournaments. I always have done. I love the tournament, football in the close season, but it's just getting silly now. And of course, the next World Cup, we're going to have more teams in it, so it's going to go on forever.
Yeah,
it's going to impact on what we do, week in, week out. In the end,
yeah. It's the European Cup, the European Nation thing that's on soon as well. The thing is, there's so many fixtures now, isn't there? So many fixtures.
You know,
frozen.
Well, Liverpool played every game possible, didn't they?
Yeah.
A few years back.
Games. Yeah.
And I think that burnt out. I think Robbo, and I also last season. I think out of all the players, them 2 were most affected. I think Robbo's coming back-ish. But I think the tactics now isn't as getting forward as much now with Van Dijk out.
Yeah.
I just think that was just too much for our players, and then, as you're saying, in between that you'd have all these international breaks, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why I got
And I know they get paid good money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
doesn't matter how much money you're getting if you're physically drained and mentally drained as well. It doesn't the money. What are they all saying? You'll be miserable in comfort. That's the bottom line. But even so, I'm sure there's a happy medium somewhere.
Yeah, it's not just the playing; it's the traveling as well. They got all the traveling, different countries, planes, hotels, training, and then playing and back again, then off somewhere else. It never stops. The modern player, it's very difficult. What's that?
So we've got Brian Fennell. So we've got Brian Fennell in as well. I know he's on a few times, isn't he? He's in London at the moment, so I believe. But I keep missing people, you see, and I'm like that, and I'm like way behind. I just want to put up this link that Ian Gold has put up, and will you all like our channel? It won't be me every week. With a shave and dyed my hair blonde. I'm his daughter. But Ian Golder, who's a regular and has been for years, is doing he's got to just give him, because he's doing the Tough Mudder for great cause. It's for Bliss, which is babies born premature and sick, and Macmillan, and we all know somebody who being affected by the big C. So yeah, and
I shall certainly have a go at that one if we finish.
So Tommy Batty, I think. Oh, brilliant. So Tommy Batty, who's a regular as well, he says he's done as proud as the captain. I, for one, don't blame him for following the money. Plus, who turned Stevie G down? I don't think he went with Stevie G though, did he?
Yeah, he did. I've seen people slagging Stevie G off lately, but I mean, he's quietly gone off to Saudi and got his job, and again, I wonder, a lot of these people who are slagging him off, I always say, what would you do? Stevie G is frantically trying to get his managerial career back on track.
Yeah.
He was offered a job. He's been offered a couple, but this one he thought is just about his heavy. And obviously the money's good, but I can't believe for 1 minute he's happy being, living out in the Middle East. Yeah. I know, it's bad enough when he was up in Glasgow. I thought that was as far as he'd want to go, but
yeah.
So he's used to living in foreign countries.
Nice
so David has asked another question. George Sefton, do you think we can win the league? Could you play free from after the match finishes, please? And do you think Everton will go down? A lot of questions.
Yeah, okay. Well, yes, I'm sure we can win the league. Given a level playing field, we get away with it. I'll play free from desire sometimes. I've got a routine now. I play dirty water after every game. That's something I've inherited from Boston Red Sox, and it's been lucky for us so far. And I don't want to upset the board. But we'll squeeze it in. And no, I don't think Everton will go down. I was watching them at the weekend. They've quietly got some good, a couple of good players in. They're not going to, win any trophies this year, that's for sure. But the most abuse I've had in the last few years is when I said I don't want Everton to go down. I know people down at the sharp end say, "Oh, all we get is earache from them," but I spend a lot of my time defending Bill Kenwright lately. I went to school with Bill. I've known him for, let me think, since 1957, and he's, whatever side you're on, he's a true blue. He was a blue when he was a kid. He's achieved his life's ambition, and he's the chairman of the club. He is not the problem, and if his heart is in the right place, he's always been the same. He could be a multi-billionaire by now, but the money he's made over the years, he's pumped into Everton, and he's pumped into his theatrical productions, and he's a good bloke. I have a lot of time for Bill Kenwright, so I always say to Evertonians, you want him out, you be careful what you wish for, because you might get a fright. But no, I don't think they're going to go down. I think they've got a couple of good players, and if they gel together, I think they'll end up comfortably mid-table this year. I just hope they have a really bad time around derby match time, but apart from that,
yeah. Well, I know a few bits of blues, we'll say, but I think for banter and the city, and have you seen how impressed? My dad will kill me for saying this, but have you seen their grounds? I mean, it's only down the road from my dad. That's why I'm pointing. By the way, I'm not just pointing it like it's mid-air. It's fantastic when you see it from ahead. It's really, really lovely, and it's going to totally transform that side of Liverpool as well.
Absolutely,
it looks magnificent.
That's all I'll say about Everton.
I think it looks really, when it's finished, it'll be pretty good, I think, to be honest.
Well, according to the UN committee, it's going to be underwater in about 10 years, isn't it? So better get on with it.
It'll be a swimming pool. It'll be a swimming pool.
Yeah.
The in the world, it'll be. So we're over the next, we're all overly confident now, aren't we? Well, I am. I'm really. We've got. Do you think we've got strength in depth now in the midfields as well?
Yeah, I do. I do think we've got strength in depth. We've challenged Man City for the last 4 years. We're the only team that has done. We've almost beat them twice by a point. We lost by a point. A bit of bad luck. We've strengthened the team, in my view, and we've started really well. And I think like George has said, I think we can win the league. I definitely think we'll finish in the top 4. And but that's not what we should be aiming for. We should be aiming to win the league.
Yeah.
The Liverpool Football Club, that's what we should be aiming for every year, win the league. And I think we've got a great chance this year with the support we've got, the players we've got, and the strength and depth we've got now as well. We might get some more signings in January. Who knows?
What did Shank say? First is first, and second's nowhere.
That's correct, George. First is first, second's nowhere.
I stick to that. I was probably one of the few people who was disappointed we ended up second a few years ago. Yeah. Also, we got into Europe. Yippee! I want to win the league.
No, I think that's an old school thing, though, isn't it, George? As well, this top 4, fans made up that we get top 4.
Yeah, it's not on.
Oh, breaks my heart. I mean, I know the Champions League, but I want to just. It breaks my heart. What do you guys think? I mean, Marios and George, how do you feel about top 4 finishing 3rd or 4th, 2nd?
Yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough. We are Liverpool Football Club. We have to go for everything, to go for winning trophies, and that's the mentality of the history of the club. And Yes, I'm totally optimistic about this season, and we have 10 points from possible 12. I think every time in club era we begin a season unbeaten in the first 4 game weeks, we are close to winning, or we won the title.
Yeah.
So it's a great start of the season, and that gives also a boost in the psychology. And I think we have a good chance if we stay fit and healthy to challenge for the title. I'm pretty sure we can.
Yeah, I think if we don't leak goals, if we keep clean sheets, we're
Yeah.
strong in defence. That's going to be the key, midfield and defence, because the forwards will score goals
And
definitely.
we haven't seen yet Gravenberg. We haven't seen yet Bajcetic. We haven't seen yet Thiago. We have so many players that we can help the team. And also there's a big squad that Jürgen can rotate it to different competitions. So we why not going for everything again? Why not?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, poor Enzo. Poor Enzo, he hasn't, I know he's had he had 3 appearances, but I'm not going to count Villa. And, we were 10 men. We had 10 men. He hasn't really,
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't set the Wales like Szoboszlai or like, and like McAllister, but, he's been thrown in the deep end, really, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. He came off the plane, didn't he? He came off the plane to play his first match as a substitute and went straight into the team against Newcastle in a hotbed up in St James's, and he did well, I thought.
Yeah.
He was less than 10 days in the club when he played in St James Park. It was crazy. It was,
exactly.
His mind doesn't realize what he's living, what he's experiencing.
When Fabinho came over, he took about 6 weeks to settle down. I remember.
Yeah.
Well, some players do, don't they?
Yeah. Different language, different country, different culture. All the things outside football.
And do you know what? I was quite surprised. Like Liverpool FC things on this video, of Gravenberch coming, and Jürgen Klopp goes, "Hi, welcome home. I'm made up." And he said, "The weather's not as good as Munich,
yeah,
but everything else is."
Let's start with a negative, yes.
And I didn't realise Germany was hotter than like England. I just had this thing of it being colder for some reason. But
did you see what Robbo said to him? Robbo said to Gravenberch,
yeah.
"Oh, great, but at least we've got a decent Dutch player now." Van Dijk didn't like that, or Gakpo.
So Anfield Road has said, this is to you, Marios. You must be pleased with Gus Poyet has brought back good fortunes to the Greek national team again.
Oh yes, he is a great manager, and he was a manager for AEK Athens just some years ago. So we had a sample of Gus Poyet as a manager. But yes, he looks really really good in his first year in Greece, and his selections are really really smart, and he has a personality that the players respect him a lot. Greeks are not so disciplined. They need someone to respect in order to be disciplined, and I think Gus Poyet has that kind of mentality and that kind of personality. So yeah, I'm optimistic about Greece. So, but it's really tough to compete with teams like Netherlands and France that are in our group stage. We had to play against Virgil van Dijk. Hopefully, when Virgil comes to Greece, I can meet him and give him a book.
Yeah,
that's it, Marius. Never miss an opportunity.
Another subject that we touched on, Anfield Raw says, I remember when top four was how I ranked the girls like aces on rotation 4 nights a week, and getting into Europe was when I was on a holiday romance.
Oh, lovely.
But
Hey,
I mean,
Mario,
this is the thing, though. Isn't it?
didn't Greece win the European Cup, Nations
Yeah.
Cup?
In
Yeah.
2004, yes.
Yeah, I just
I
remember that.
remember it well.
Yeah, it was
I was
amazing.
11. Fortunately, I remember everything. I was a child, but I remember everything, and
Yeah.
it's great. And I feel strange when I meet younger people from Greece and they don't remember anything. Yeah, it's strange because this is the greatest moment in Greek football, in Greek sports
Absolutely.
history.
I
Yeah,
remember
and
it well. Yeah.
I don't think it will be again another that kind of achievement for Greek football as soon. But yes, it was incredible. And it was a really compact team. It was the togetherness and that kind of collectivity. And it was something that really I liked in football teams like Greece that days, the collectivity. And in that year, I fell in love with Liverpool when I saw the game against Olympiacos. So it was that kind of collectivity and togetherness and that aura. That's what I like the most in Liverpool. Because it's that what comes from my childhood when I experienced that epic thing from Greece. I had a mindset of what I love in football, and then I met Liverpool, and I was in love.
Yeah, brilliant.
It really is. It's a great club, great fans, great city. I'm not about Greece, by the way. Sorry about that, Manzos. Never been to Greece, but I'm hoping that we're all invited over one time because it's one place I'd love to go is Greece.
Lovely.
Greek islands, Greece, the mainland, anywhere. I've never been. Just say.
You have to.
But Liverpool has got that pull. I know that teams hate us and that, but I think our fans think we're the funniest. I think we. I don't know. I think we're full of humility. We're very social.
I think we were the first fans to start singing, to start actually singing.
Yeah.
Like on the Cop.
Yeah, it was lovely,
The Beatles were playing She Loves You and all these songs. It never happened anywhere else. And then You Never Walk Alone came on. You know the story when I met Jerry with Peter Thompson and he played his song and Peter said it wasn't going to be a hit. It was too slow. And Jerry just looked at him and said, "It'll be a hit, Peter. Trust me." A few months later, it was top of the charts, and here we are now, 63 years later, still singing on the Cup.
When I came back from the trip to Liverpool in Greece, the friends of mine were asking me, "What do you like the most? What do you like the most?" And my answer is the people. And I was telling to my Greek friends that the people in Liverpool are really expressive, really really nice, and have a great attitude, a will to help you and to make you feel comfortable. And many of them were surprised because they have a mindset, a model of an Englishman. It was a close person and like an aristocrat and these kind of things. But I have to explain them that Scousers are Scousers and not English.
But the Liverpool people are amazing. I think all the cities by the sea, by the river, like Newcastle, Glasgow, Liverpool, they got that. I mean, I never forget when I was in hospital, I had over 1,000 messages from Liverpool fans, Liverpool people. I mean, the caring, passionate sort of people, and humorous as well, which is the best of the lot. The jokes. and the character, just amazing. I just feel like an adopted Scouser with a Scottish accent.
Can I just chip in there? There's a wonderful, it's a German DVD. It's got English subtitles. It tells the story of You Never Walk Alone, which is absolutely fantastic.
When we were in Jimmy Tarbach's house and Peter and Jerry, he was playing that song. It was the last track on the album, I remember. And he said it's from Carousel. We didn't know what Carousel was. We were just young footballers. Didn't have a clue what it was, And when we heard the music, though, I loved it. And Peter, he wasn't too impressed.
Jerry got hooked, wasn't it? When he walked into a cinema out the rain and just Carousel was on, and he took to it. But I mean, the Carousel came from a play that was written in 1909, I think it was. Yeah. People think You Never Walk Alone sort of appeared out of nowhere in the late 40s. It didn't. The history is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend that thing. Jürgen's in that movie. Jerry's in it, obviously. One or two other people and me, but the whole narrative of the thing, going from it starts off in Vienna before the war and goes right through until it ends up in Liverpool, obviously, but also in Dortmund. The Yellow Wall, they'll sing You Never Walk Alone as well. It's really worth getting out of the DVD library if you do such things nowadays. But as I say, I'm like you, George, I'm old enough to remember when it started, October '63.
Well, that's right. That's what I was in Jimmy's house a few months just before that, and it was just a couple of months before it was actually hit the market, and it was unbelievable. So it still is, I mean, the words are incredible, aren't they? I mean, at the end of the storm is a golden sky. It sums everything up for most people.
It is. It's Scout's philosophy.
Fantastic lyrics. And it's ours.
So, Jay Kismet, You'll Never Walk Alone, also says, I've watched that, George Sefton. Great video. New York, Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, apart from the fact that we got interested in the song, it stands alone. It's a great movie on its own,
Yes. Yeah,
anyway, as I say, if you can get your hands on one of them, it's worth it.
Yeah,
you might get it on Amazon or any other good.
It's on. Yeah, you get it on Amazon.de, the German Amazon.
Okay.
I don't think the English Amazon actually sell it. Last time I looked, it didn't. But it's good. But make sure you get the right one. It's the one with the yellow cover.
There's
really
interesting that.
Few more DVDs called You Never Walk Alone, but that's the definitive version.
So we've touched on the international break and touch wood and everything that we don't get no injuries or anything, all well being good. As it come out about Trent, his injury,
he's
Trent
withdrawn, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh, was he? Yeah, but
he picked up an injury on Saturday, so he's hello.
Trent,
Look out!
He's not.
Comments.
He hasn't gone with England, Trent. He's not gone. He stayed behind.
So my dad, Frank, has said, I'm looking in. Hello, George, Marios George, and the lovely Francine Carlyle. I don't know why he's put full title for me, and everybody on chat. See you on the podcast on Thursday with Tommy Batty, live from Ishmael. Is it Ishmael? I was wondering where he is.
Turkey.
Somewhere foreign.
Hi, Frank. Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Dad.
guys.
I hope I'm doing okay. But our next game is Wolves. After
yes.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the Wolves game? Because I mean, a lot of players have gone, haven't they? Just before the end of the transfer.
Nunes is gone, hasn't he? The Wolves Nunes, he's gone. Yeah. He was a difficult class player. They'll miss him.
Yeah.
I think we'll beat them I think we'll beat them. I think you
Sure.
said, Francine, we don't fear anybody this season. Let's go and give them one.
Yeah. Do you know, like it was always, who's the first team you look for when the fixtures come out? George Sefton, I'll give it to you.
Ooh, well, obviously derby matches, United and whatever. Well, to be honest, the first thing I look at is who we're playing at Christmas, because I like to have my Christmas to myself with the family. But if it, once or twice we've been playing to early kickoff on Boxing Day, and it drives me around the bend. But no, they say derby matches are the thing. Every year I say I'd rather not play against Everton or United. I'd rather just call it a draw and forget the hassle. Because if my blood pressure's got anything that's going to send it up through the roof, it's those two games. I always start off saying it's only another game, and then after about 5 minutes, I'm screaming and shouting and banging my head on my little window there. Although the 7-0 recently was a bit of a treat, but that's not going to happen very often. I think we all thought we were dreaming when that was going on.
Yeah.
And what about you, George?
Well, I don't like the derby games, to be honest, because I'm sorry to say my youngest son is an Everton season ticket holder. And
What?
I know. I told him he'd have a tough life, and he has. But I mean, it's always a bit of a stress for me being a father, and that game. It's the one game that I want Everton to lose. I don't mind Everton winning games as long as it's not against us. I mean, I had a lot of friends at Everton when I played for Liverpool, Colin Harvey and the Oak. We used to knock about together. And it's a great club, and they stuck by us with Hillsborough. And I won't say nothing against Everton. I think they're an amazing club. But as long as we beat them twice a year, then that'll do me.
Yeah.
Man United, I think, is the one I look at because I always like to beat them. And City, because it's been so close in the last few years. But I get nervous against City, I have to say. I always get nervous against them. I find it difficult to watch.
Somebody said to me a few years ago, what would have happened if one of your sons had grown up as an Everton fan? I said, well, he wouldn't have grown up.
I've been asked that question more than any other. Why did you like that? My oldest son is a fanatic Liverpool fan, and my two grandsons on his side is.
Yeah.
My two grandsons are on the Everton side or the other side, so I'm split down the middle of our family. But I've gone to Istanbul with my son. I've gone all Wembley with him and everything. So the other son I play golf with. So that's balances it out.
And
what about you, Mario?
Another thing I liked in Liverpool, it was that the fact that I could walk in a Liverpool jersey from the Goodison Park side. It was really strange for me because in Greece you can't do these kind of things. If you go with a Panathinaikos shirt to the Olympiakos neighborhood, you will not be alive, or the other way. So that was what I really liked a lot. That I have asked some people over there, and if it's safe to do it. And everyone said to me that it is because the fans of both teams outside the pitch are really together because it's kind of togetherness in the city, especially after Hillsborough and those kind of things. France, I don't remember the exact question, what it was.
Who do you look for when the fixtures come out?
Yeah.
Who's the first team you look for?
The first fixture I'm looking at is the last one. Because I dream of a kind of celebration of the title. So
this is a good one.
But I am the last years I look when we play at the Etihad. That's the first one.
No.
At the Etihad, not just against City, at the Etihad. And I was really I really liked the fact that this year we play at the Etihad on the first round, and then when maybe the title race is on fire,
And we're back at Anfield.
They had to come to Anfield. So I liked a lot this fact.
We've got a great record against them at Anfield.
Yeah.
We've not lost too many times to City at Anfield. I'd back us every time.
Well, that's my thing. So I look at now it's Man City is coming to the fold, and then you always look for where we're playing at home first, or where that's my thing, and then I'll go, no, for playing away at the beginning. I'm like, but it's like that two-way thing of we play better the second half of the season as well, don't we? Yeah. We always have a great run in. You know, the last 10 games were usually phenomenal.
We did.
Exactly.
And how we pave our way.
Even last season.
Yeah. Oh, last season we were awful at the beginning of the season. Last season, but usually we used to be the Christmas, didn't it? That November, December used to always be our like jinxy months.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping it'll be quite steady. You know, we usually fail against like teams that have come up. We'll draw with them 2-2. You know, Brighton 2-2. And you know, at Anfield and stuff like that. I don't want to be dropping points needlessly.
The worst one last year was after beating United 7-0. We go to Bournemouth and lose 1-0.
Oh, yeah. And we beat them 9-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
is why we love football.
Yeah. It's so unpredictable.
That's right.
Oh, but Liverpool last season, we were all over the place. I personally, I think it was burnout. It was burnout from going every game that you could possibly play. We played. There's got to be so much to give.
Yeah, absolutely.
It had a massive impact. Of course, it has a massive impact.
Yeah.
Of course.
60 games. It was something.
They're human beings.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And also, I think didn't help a lot the fact that we lost the Champions League and the league. If we had won it, at least one of them, maybe the thing would be different. But you know, it was a kind of body and moral fatigue. It was.
Well, it was all the calamity as well of what happened at the final of the Champions League.
Yes.
You know, how the fans were treated, the lies of the delay on the boards and stuff like that. You know, that must have filtered through. You know, ex-players' wives were getting manhandled. You know, our mayor, you know, was getting manhandled within the stadium as well. So it's not, you know, all that must have been filtered through to the players, regardless. And, you know, and it's all that negative thought. I mean, I know that some of the lads I know that went, they didn't even watch the game. Their head, they couldn't have even told you anything that happened, apart from the goal, which I don't even think they remember. They were all just sitting there like that. You know? So, I think it was all that sort of thing. And then it was all the VAR decisions that went against us. You know, I know went in favour of Man City. You know, you build up so much negative, and it's going to collapse somehow anyway, isn't it? But we're back. Well, that's it. But I don't want to end on a negative. So you know, I was really worried about this season, especially as like, you know, all the sudden players that left, and we had no midfield. We were depleted. Everyone was going, oh, you know. Yeah, including myself, you know, we've only got 22 players and all this, that and the other, and who are our subs going to be? They're going to be like young lads coming through and whatnot. But I want to end it. I just want to ask you, and I'll go from Marios to George Scott to George Sefton. What are your? I've already asked you this, but what are your feelings about this season? And what I mean is your emotion and how you think Liverpool as a unit will be.
Yeah, I am really, really optimistic because of what I have seen in the start of the season. Um, we have 10 points from the possible 12 going to Stamford Bridge and to St. James Park. You know, really tough games. And also, let's not forget that the game against Villa was also very difficult.
Yeah.
Aston Villa is a great, great side, a great counter-attack team, but we controlled the game and we disappeared them from the pitch. Um, I'm seeing in the faces of players, in the face of Jurgen, something new, something healthy. How can I say it? It's a kind of moral rebuild. Also, they look fresh. They look energetic and ready to go again. I think this team looks ready to find back their lost identity. We are finding again our intensity, which is our identity. So yes, I think this team can really compete for the title. And I also think that it's a really big season. It will be a really big season, and there are so many teams that have developed a lot. And I think all the teams, even Liverpool, even City, even Arsenal, even every team will lose points. So maybe the title will be decided to less than 90 points.
Well, before I go to you, George Scott, it seems like only City only take the foot off the pedal when anyone else is challenging. Example, Arsenal last season. The points was lower. We go proper toe to toe where Pep has to pull his finger out. They all have to pull the fingers out, don't they? And get it across the line, because when Liverpool are on fire, and I think Pep must be looking behind him here thinking, the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So George, what do you think as well, George Scott?
Well, I think I'm really optimistic about this season. I mean, we've spent quite a number of weeks on this show worrying about next season, or this season, sorry, with who will sign defensive midfielder, and we're not doing this, we're not doing that. And I trust Jurgen Klopp implicitly. I trust his judgment. I trust the way he manages the team. The players we've got now in that midfield role, I think, are class players, and they're going to give a great support to the attackers and a support to the defence. A big thing is if we can keep clear of injuries to key players, because that hit us hard last year, which was a horrible year. I think the style of the team looks good. Szoboszlai looks an immense player to me. I mean, he covers acres of ground, he passes it, he can shoot from outside the box. McAllister's a workhorse, he keeps possession well, distributes the ball well. Up front, you've got pace, you've got style, you've got everything you need to score goals. And if we can keep the back four tight, and Trent keeps putting his killer balls through, keeps it tight to the back, Robbo down the wing, everything's there. I think there's no easy games now in the Premier League, no easy games at all. They're all tough, but everybody fears coming to Anfield. Nobody wants to come under that "this is Anfield" sign. They know where they are, and they're going to be in a battle, and they're going to go home without the points. As Shankly said to me all those years ago, "You're lucky to be here, son. This place will be a bastion of invincibility. They'll all come here to be beaten. And they're still coming here to be beaten, and they will continue to be beaten this year. And we'll go on, and I've got no doubt we'll finish top four, and we're going to challenge City for the league. You can tell by my voice, I'm very optimistic.
Oh, I feel like parading the cup around this room. To be honest, I felt like that was a motivational speech in itself.
I love it. We're going to win the league. George will be there telling us he'll be there as he's always there. Like a rock.
Like a what? Oh, rock. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this season. I said we've got a cracking squad. I have this thing about the bench being full of top class players as well, and we're very nearly there. it must be daunting for some teams when they're playing us and they look at the bench, and if somebody's having a bad game, they look around and they can bring world-class players on. And we've got a cracking, squad through and through now. We've got the world's best keeper at the back. We get Jurgen, get Virgil back in the frame, and Canate. We need them to have a run without injuries, and we'll do the business. I'm really looking forward to this season. And first things first, I'd like to think we're going to end up in Dublin next May in the final. I think that's not quite a shoe-in for us, but
you'll be there.
It's going back to Shank's era. Remember when Shanks was pushing us into Europe? 1973, we won the UEFA Cup. Then we won it again, and then we were going up, and we won the big one, old jug ears. And now we're creme de la creme in Europe. You'd never have thought of that when I was a boy, or when you were playing for Shanks.
Yeah.
He taught the game, but he'd said all these years later we've got 6 European Cups.
European Cups, yeah.
Not to mention the fact we were cheated out of a couple more, and at 65 we were cheated out of one as well. But
we were.
That's history. But people talk about the great teams. Liverpool at the top of the pile, and everybody's reckoning
nobody compares. No. Nobody compares.
Well, my sister lives in Kerry, and I've just been there. I went there for a few days, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to fly into Kerry, stay in my sister's, and then travel up to Dublin. I've already set the time, the routes, and everything. It's just like it's 2 hours away by train.
Yeah, we got to get there. We just got to get there.
Oh yes.
You've got to. And I've got a good vibe, but I don't want to jinx anything really. But I just want to say, like, this is I don't know. The Jurgen Klopp era all over again. After the season was the end of oh God, do you know what? I forgot. I didn't like him. Celtic's manager. What was his name? Why have I just forgotten him?
Which the old Celtic manager?
No, our ex-manager before Klopp.
Brendan Rodgers.
Oh, Brendan Rodgers. But wasn't it Roy?
No, hang on.
I'm all confused. He was before.
No,
it wasn't Brendan.
Brendan took over from Kenny, didn't he?
Oh,
don't get me started on Brendan Rodgers, or you'll be here for another 2 hours.
Oh, are you coming back on, George?
George
Are you
Hudson.
going to come?
No, I'll get into trouble.
Okay. But are you? So, George, are you going to come back on Thursday or Tuesday, or what are you going to do? What's the plan?
Are you talking to George, George, or me?
No, I'm talking to you, sweetheart. Sefton.
Yeah, as I say, I'll be out of the game for a couple of weeks now because my dear wife is coming out of hospital tomorrow. She's had a new knee, can't drive, can't do anything. So I'll be waiting on a hand and foot for the next couple of weeks.
Best wishes to her, George.
I'll be when this is all over, I'll be glad to come back. I'll do anything for you, Francine. You know that.
I'll have to tell me dad he'll have to miss that show. But you know what? You know what? You've been. Do you know what? So Jake Kismas has said it would be great to see George Sefton on the show. Well, he will be. Phil Bidwell has said, I'm confident that we'll be in the final at Dublin. With this current squad, we'll likely win it as well.
Lovely.
Alternative FM has said all the best to your wife, George.
People have been saying that for years.
Please like and subscribe. I know that sometimes you do, but it's every show. I think you'll have to do it. And it's best if you go onto YouTube to like, I think, well, I know, I'm acting soft now. And then we've got Anfield Draw. Francine's got more pulling power than Frank.
Ooh.
And Philip Bidwell has said, we wish your wife all the best, George.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Philip.
Someone wants to say, and someone asked a question, and this is going to be the last question because I'm a bit like my dad now. The last question is, who's your favourite ever player at Liverpool? And I'll go for you, George Sefton, and then we'll finish on that.
Kenny, he's not just the favourite Liverpool player. He's the best I've seen at Anfield, and I've seen them all, at Anfield over the years. Obviously, I wouldn't swap Kenny for anybody.
And what about you, George Scott?
I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
Kenny Dalglish.
You wouldn't anyway, yeah. And what about you, Marios?
I was born in 1993, so I have more recent images of Liverpool Football Club. So I would go for Bobby Firmino.
Oh,
Ooh,
class player.
And on that controversial note,
yeah, mine would be Luis Suarez, but
well, he was the best for 1 year. That 1 year, he was unbelievable.
That's it. That was a tragedy that what happened to Luis, but there you go.
Yeah,
such is life.
I know. Right. So, all I want to say is thank you for making my time on here like so sweet and fluid, because I'm a bit nervous and a bit unsure of things, and I kept freezing probably in the worst positions ever. And I want to just thank the viewers and my dad and Tommy Batty for I don't know what, commenting, and thanks for everyone for sticking with me, really. And all I have to say is, and Valley. Hiya, Valley. I didn't even know you were on.
Oh, there she is,
yeah. So these comments keep coming on, but I don't know what to do. Do I just stop now? Okay, so good night.
Francine, you're doing great in the captain's chair. Been a pleasure, George. Absolute delight to be on with you.
Adios.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Good night, God bless.
I don't know what to do.